sit down.
Yes. I remember the last time when I was in a setting like this, I was in a Toastmaster meeting in Hanoi around 7 years ago. And I was not standing here, but I was sitting in the audience and looking on stage at people speaking, and people were doing table topics. And I remember I was so nervous. I was afraid of being called out onto stage. And I remember thinking to myself, please don't call me. Just don't, because after this I will go home, I will practice, and I'll be perfect, and then I come back on stage and no one's gonna see this trembling, stuttering version of me that is speaking right now. But then I left. I didn't go down to practice at all during those 8 years. And so as I think about this event, I kind of, what struck me was that why was it that I was so afraid to put myself out there? Why was it that I care so much about what other people would think of me? And I think it's only natural that we care about what other people would think of me, because according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, okay, once you have fulfilled your basic needs, which are physiological and safety needs, then you will reach a higher level of need where you will need to, where you will feel, where it's only natural for you to, need this kind of sense of belonging and to be accepted and loved by other people. But there's a catch in here, because if you keep chasing other people's approval and opinions, then you will eventually exhaust yourself, because each person is going to have a different opinion of you. And so after a lot of experience, I remember I've always had this problem struggling with this insecurity that I'm not good enough, that I need to be better. I think it's even started since I was in kindergarten. I was 3 years old, and I remember I was labeled as a shy kid, with 3 years old, by my parents. When they first brought me to kindergarten, I was so afraid, a lot of children playing around, didn't know what to do. And so I was labeled as a shy kid, and from the concerned look on my parents' face, I kind of got this feeling that being shy was something not acceptable. And so I was so afraid of being called out, and I think that's what's going through my mind on that day at that Toastmasters meeting. I was really afraid of being found out. I was this shy and nervous person. And so it took me a long time to finally come around and accept myself the way I am, because the first person that you need to accept and love is yourself. Because there's this quote by Eleanor Roosevelt in which she said, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. And I was letting other people dictate how I would feel instead of taking control of my emotions. And so in order for me to grow and become a better person, I need to first focus on myself and accept myself just the way I am. And so that brings me to my next point, which is that in order to grow, you need you don't just wake up one day and then just feel like, oh, I love myself so much. It's a process that you need to go through. And so there is this quote that sums up this point, which is by John Maxwell in his book 15 Invaluable Lessons for Growth, in which he says, as children, our bodies grow automatically. A year goes by and we become taller, more capable of doing new things and facing new challenges. Many people carry with them a subconscious belief into adulthood that mental, spiritual, and emotional growth follows a similar pattern. The problem is that we don't improve by simply living. We have to be intentional about it. And so that's why I've chosen to be intentional about improving myself, and that's why I'm here today. Instead of sitting in the audience, I've decided to bring myself on stage and face this fear of social judgment. And so I know that I'm still nowhere near as perfect. I still have a lot to improve on my public speaking, but it's okay. I've learned to kind of accept myself the way that I am, and probably think less about what other people are thinking of me. And so, although like today I'm still shaking, my feet are still cold, my brain's still fuzzy, my heart is like pounding. But then, you know, I've learned to accept it's okay. It's part of the process. And so, so today I just want to. I hope that everyone today will also be able to put our fears aside and focus on their speech and be our best today. So thank you all for coming here today.
I love this speech you had. You're right, she's right. Her hand's really cold. But can you please tell what you think, Alex?
Okay, can I give both sides, good and bad?
Okay,
Can I do that? I think the first thing is that the way you speak is very natural and it's very engaging. People, I think I can speak for everyone, that they feel comfortable when you're talking, and so that adds a lot to it. It seems like it's not memorized, which is good. On the other hand, I think I liked when you give the title of it, self-love, it draws you in right away. I felt like in the middle, I felt it was a little bit not really linear, like I didn't know which points exactly you were making.
Yeah.
Although with the conclusion, you give the conclusion was good, because you went back to kind of your personal story of how you're not comfortable here, but you accept it. So I think it was just kind of the laying out the middle part was maybe the only issue that I would improve on. Other than that, it's great.
Thank you. Miss Helen?
Yeah, Linh has a good language. Yeah, because she expert in our class, right? And today I think her hand gets really quite good, and her story is like inspiring. So I think it's some good point, and I think you know that you should improve your improvement, right? And connect with the audience by raising some question or use some props. Yeah, my feedback.
I think I probably know why Miss Helen suggested you need to make one connection, because most of the time I've noticed you make a connection only to this side,
Okay.
not this side.
Yeah.
Eye contact is part of it. What's more do you suggest, Miss Linh?
Yes, I see the first thing is that Linh is very gorgeous today.
You look so different from the other day. That is the first thing that captured my attention right away when I'm looking at her.
Saving the best for the last.
Yes. And the second thing is, if I compare Linh performance on the first day and also today, I see totally different two different people. The Linh that I saw on the first day of the class, she was so shy. She always stood in the corner of the class and also so trembling to speak even the first word. And even you didn't looking at the audience as well. But today that you even were so brave to step on the center of the stage, and also you try to make eye contact with us and you're so fluent on the speech. That is two different people. Right now, what is the next step? The next step we need to help you is that how about pausing? Because pausing, that is for 8 classes already. I know it's really challenging for you to change. So how about whenever you write the next script, on your script you just write the letter P in any area you want to pause at that time.
Right.
And then try to practice at home to pause around 2 to 3 seconds. Because sometimes in the important message, especially this message, it's really important. How about you just read so slowly and to pause, to leave the audience the time to think about the message. That would be great. Okay. And also that eliminate redundant words. For example, and try to looking at us while instead of looking at the slide, because most of the time I see that she's looking at the slide.
Okay.
It's just like you're talking to the slide right now. Other than that, that's so awesome today.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
So, the last speaker that we have today is Miss Ngọc with the speech titled "What Makes a Good Life." Wow.